This landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico. The rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO Classified. UFO Classified. No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Hello, my friends, and happy Fantopia Friday. I'm Erica Lukes. Always a pleasure to be here with you and spend Friday night hanging out with my people, my friends from all over the world. Thanks again for taking the time to listen, and hopefully we can expand our knowledge about all of these interesting things going on around us that I believe we must pay attention to and acknowledge. There's lots of transition going on in the world right now with research, with contact experiences, with all sorts of environmental concerns. And we must be active participants in the world and take responsibility for everything that we have done and will do in the future. I had a very exciting week in Lake Tahoe, and it was absolutely, it's such a beautiful place there. I got to hang out with my friends and family and give a lovely send-off to my father-in-law who passed away. And it was, Lake Tahoe was his favorite place in the world. It was really beautiful to see. And we had an interesting bear experience, very close up. It was so cool. And then, of course, some of my family members saw that large flaming fragment of space junk that fell on Wednesday night. That was quite something that was seen throughout the Western United States. And I had people calling me up and messaging me with film. It was quite unusual, quite large, but it was great to see people looking up and paying attention, and just the power of social media is very incredible. Sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a bad way, but that was a very interesting experience. So I just want to say I had a great time, and every day in my life I have new adventures. And today I want to talk a little bit about, before I bring my wonderful guest on, about a conversation I had with Colonel John Alexander. He has been somebody that I've respected. I really, really like what he has to say, and he's no nonsense about things. He has a very different perspective, and I spoke with him. He was kind enough to talk to me for almost an hour. We talked about Skinwalker Ranch and some different things, but a great perspective. So I would encourage all of you to listen to some of his interviews, to go to his website and learn a bit more about that. And his closing thought was that the more we really learn, the more we study, the more we ask questions, the more questions we have with regard to this phenomenon, to all of these different things taking place. So I encourage you all to be mindful when you're studying this, to not believe everything that you hear, to trust your intuition, to research, but also to be a little open-minded about things and find out your own answer, because we all have our own path that we need to follow, and your answer is your own answer. So with that said, I want to bring on a woman who I've been listening to her interviews this week, and I actually get to meet her at the 2016 Starworks UFO Symposium in Laughlin, Nevada, coming up in November. I'm delighted to meet her and hang out with her, but she is a lovely human being. I can tell that just by listening to her interviews and the way she has this wonderful voice. In fact, she's got some really cool meditations. I want to talk about that when I get her on. But Karen Gresham Nickell she's been an intuitive for, well, her whole life. She's had some interesting contact experiences. In the late 70s and early 80s, she worked as a researcher for author David St. Clark, and their work together took them throughout Brazil, the UK, the US, Mexico. That sounds like a kind of life I want to have. That sounds wonderful. They presented workshops and private consultations, and she undertook a very intensive personal spiritual discovery focused on indigenous Brazilian practices. Very, very cool, along with the exploration of paranormal phenomena. During the mid-1980s, she operated a private practice in the Paroli residential section of Rome, Italy. Karen has worked over the past 35 years helping everyone from national to international celebrities, one of whom I have to say is Jobim, who is my favorite in the entire world. Jobim composed The Girl from Ipanema, and I can't believe that Karen knew him. What a great thing. So without further ado, Karen, thank you so much for coming to the show. And I have to just start off by saying, tell me about Jobim.
Well, that's a wonderful, I'm very honored to be on your show, Eric. I feel like I've known you, and it's wonderful. And that's a beautiful thing for us to start out with. He is fantastic and was the best composer of our time.
I agree.
In my opinion, and a wonderful human being, a great humanitarian, and a fantastic person. And he was one of David's best friends, and that's how I met him. And I'm honored to have met him and known him. And at one time we were at the Pergola, which was in Copacabana Palace back then, and it was just he, myself, and another person in there, and the pianist. And it was in a little area, and he wrote a song for me. And so I was quite young and very immature and didn't know what to say, and it was on a napkin. And he was just wrote this song, and then somehow or another, after we'd had a glass of wine or something, somebody just took the napkin away. And I'll never forget that to this very day. I went, oh my gosh, why did I let that happen? But anyway, he was great, and I hear from him sometimes.
Oh my gosh, that is such, and if people don't really understand the gravity of his work, I mean, bossa nova. I mean, bossa nova. That's it. He's Jobim was a Brazilian composer, songwriter, arranger, singer. His stuff is so soulful and sultry. And it really is, I was a jazz musician for a long, long time.
Oh, really? Oh, how cool.
And so for me to sing Jobim there was nothing like it. And I still have my friends come over who are brilliant musicians, and we'll just bust out some of his music, and it's really great stuff.
Oh, that's great.
I know, and that's such a thrill for you to say that you had a song that he wrote for you.
He did, and it was on a napkin, and it was on a little club napkin, paper napkin, and then they just took it. We didn't realize it. We'd had some glasses of wine, and the waiter just came and thought it was part of the napkins to be thrown away, and that was it.
Oh my gosh!
And so to this very day, they ask, what do they say? Is there anything you regret in life? And that's the one thing that I regret, having let that happen.
So do you remember the song?
No, because the pianist was just there in the pergola in that little area, and everything was glassed in, and I don't remember. It's been, since 1977. That's been a long time ago.
Well, you must have been like 14, probably.
Oh, thank you. No, I was a little bit older than that.
Oh my gosh, what a fun thing. I love to hear about people's life and their experiences, especially stuff like this, because that is, when you think of different artists and people that have these abilities, there's always something very magical about them. Well,
thank you. I'm very honored. And this is a lot of fun. I think that's great. You're a musician. I would love to maybe you can bring your instrument when you go to Laughlin.
Yeah,
I would love to hear you.
that would be fun. I love to. I'm a singer, and
Because they're
I love to
having
sing.
some musical things there. You should do that.
Well,
Paula would love that.
I might have to. Maybe I can play a
Yeah.
little duet with Travis.
Yeah, tell Carolyn about it. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Well, never say never. That would be fun.
Never say never. Yeah.
That's so fun. But when you worked with Joe Beam, tell me what you did with him.
Well, it was more or less through David. And David was a great psychic, metaphysician, a great teacher. He was very evolved, and I was honored to have been with him from 1977 to 1991 when he passed. And he was my best friend, and we were together for a long, long time. And it went all over the world researching paranormal phenomena and researching the truth. We were seekers of truth beyond the physical plane reality of what we have here. And David was the greatest. He could do the best past life regressions of anybody I've ever known.
Oh, how wonderful.
And he's a very famous writer. He has about 30 books. This was a long time ago. He is instant ESP, and most of his books are in the Library of Congress. And in fact, Carolyn did a web page for him to kind of bring him back. He wrote for Manchetti, which was their Time and Life magazine, and he wrote one book about the Amazon. He's written so many. But he was friends with the president and the first lady at that time, Joan Goulart, and that's on his page. And so he knew everybody, and he introduced them all to me, and I was really gifted. I was really gifted by him. It was just an honor. It was like magical. But Brazil's a whole other story. It was 8 years of my life. And it all came from a feeling that I had while I was sitting in an apartment with a friend, and I just started focusing on Brazil actually from the music point. And at that time, Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66 were really big. That was probably way before your time.
No, Mas Que Nada. I used to sing Mas Que Nada.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, that's great. Well, and I just kind of listened to my inner self, and that's what each one of us should do, is we have this inner part of us that really has our answers.
Right.
And so at that time, I was young, and I had just I had gone to the record store and bought this Sergio Mendes, and I remember it was the different one. It was called Primal Roots, and so I listened to it, and ending up going to this meeting called Church of Religious Science. This friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go over there, that they were having a Tibetan monk to come in and lecture, and we were like 25, 26 years old, and we would just try just about anything. And he spoke in Sanskrit, and so I was telling my friend Beverly, I said, my goodness, I said, how are we ever going to learn this? And she said, well, we're not supposed to learn it. She said, well, let's look at the books over there. So she found this book called Drum and Candle, written by David St. Clair, and that's how it all started. And I read the book, and I said, I'm going to be contacting him. And she said, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, I'll just find a way. And so I looked in the back of his bio, and his father, Lee, was alive at the time, and I called and traced him down to Ohio. And David was in a press conference in New York. And when I called him, I made up a little white lie and told him I was a reporter from Dallas, Texas, and I needed an interview.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he said, well, just a second, let me get my drink here. And he said, let's talk. And he had this beautiful voice. a very, very deep voice, and he said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "You know, I'm a psychic." I said, "I know you are." And he said, "First of all, I know that you're not a reporter." And he started laughing, and he said, "But you are going to be my best friend." And he said, "We're going to work together." And he said, "In fact, I need some research from Brazil, and I'm going to wire you $1,000. And we talked for 2 hours. It was just made to be. And he set me up in Recife with the information he needed for his book. And so all these people came and picked me up at the airport. I mean, I could just go on and on about Brazil. And it was just, it was something else. And it totally changed my life. And from there, it just went on, and I listened to the voices within, and there was a big, big project, and it would take a week for me to tell you about that. But I owe it all to him, and he was fantastic. He was magical.
Isn't that wonderful? And I think that for me, you know, I have had a blessed life too. And it's like, if I think of something and I put my mind to it, even just for a second, the things that manifest are incredible. I mean, every day I go to bed grateful for the opportunities I have to be able to talk to the people I do. And it's just, I feel like life is such a gift, and we do all have the potential to manifest things if we're, you know, in a positive frame of mind.
This is really true. I mean, this is really true. I mean, whenever I saw your picture and I heard your voice, I felt like I'd known you forever. And I was talking to Carolyn earlier, and I said, you know, I said I know Erica in some way. I said, we're going to have a good time tonight.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I said, and I'm very honored to be with you. So this is going to be fun.
Thank you, Nissa. I appreciate that so much, and I'm so excited to meet you at Starworks, because I think
we'll have a good time.
I have no doubt.
Excellent. Paula's shows are the best there are.
Well,
it's incredible. She's quite incredible. In fact, by now, after they started in 2012, it's kind of like a family reunion. But everybody's fantastic.
I'm really honored.
I am too.
It's very fun for me to be kind of a newcomer in this field, and to have so many people accept me and want to help me and give me information really with open arms. It's been a blessing, and I feel like whatever I can do to move things forward and to enable other people to do that too. So I'm very excited.
Me too. And I have 7 students that are coming with me, and they're all going to them, and they've been going to them since 2012, and they live for them, and they have done so much with their own lives. One is a Dallas school teacher who has become a famous children's author of many books, and she wouldn't mind if I mention her name. Her name is Judy Lowe, and she writes about the little white light, and she also has a website. So Judy Lowe, L-O-W-E,
okay.
If anybody wants to check her out.
Oh, that's nice.
And then there's many others, and so all of my students are very special. One is a little bit different and wonderful and magical, and her DNA may be a little bit different from ours. So,
isn't that interesting?
So you'll meet a lot of people there.
Oh, I can't wait! This is so much fun, and I have to say that it's an interesting thing too. And I want to talk about this after we get back from our break. But just to see the different, you know, kind of not factions, I don't know what a good word would be, but the different types of ufology that we have. And there are some people that are into the more spiritual aspect of things, the contactee movement, the experiencer kind of thing. And then you have the nuts and bolts people. And I wish that there were a way to bring the two together, because I think they're both incredibly important.
Oh, I do too. I think it really needs to come together, because one is not visible, on the physical plane, and the other is visible, and people need that too, because the physical plane is just as important as the other, and they all need to blend and come together. And I hope that it will someday, and I feel that it will. I feel like we're being pushed into it for the mere fact of all that's happening on our planet, because we're so fortunate to have such a beautiful planet to live in, with all of our oceans and mountains and all of the beautiful places here. And right now we're battling with the light and the dark energies, and I could go on and on about that. But
well, you can. You can go on and on about that. So, and I think that's an important thing, because I really, for me, coming into this, having my own personal experiences, and then to try to move into this where I'm scientifically researching things, which for a musician has been a great learning process. But it's been interesting for me to meet people on both sides, and to see that there's not a lot of give and take on either side, and there has to be in this, because we are not studying a nuts and bolts thing. We can't wait for the mothership to land, because there is something happening here and now. And we need to be able to accept the fact that we are, this phenomenon encompasses many different things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that we need to get past that, because it's in another different dimension and frequency. It's about energy, because we're energy and light. And I know there are a lot of things that are physically spotted and found, and that's wonderful. Those are gifts, and they're real, and that's important. But there's so much out there that I tell people when they study with me is that life is a test, and even Shakespeare says it. Life is a theater. And we've chosen to come here to learn and correct what we needed in order to become our super selves. And everybody has the same ability. We're all created equal. And we have that opportunity if we take a look at it and become a seeker. And people who seek from many different ways. And they seek, usually if there's been a tragedy, or if there's been a fear, or it has to be an emotional awakening in order for an individual to seek, unless they've just come in seeking.
Oh my gosh. And we are going to go to break.
I think that's what our planet is right now. I think.
Absolutely. And I've got to just cut you off right. Of course, I have to cut you off right at the best part. Dang it. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back, and then we're going to continue that thought. And I really appreciate all of you being here. I'm Erica Lukes. This is UFO Classified. We will be right back.
Stand by. This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified.
UFO Classified
with Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this.
Where'd that shot come from?
Alpha 3 to Eagle 1. We've got company.
From Tay Publishing, codename Eagle Force, the saga begins.
I see them, Alpha 3. All units, stay low and let them come.
From the eyes of a special ops officer, Joe Michael Riggy brings to life this amazing story of survival, the unknown and the unexpected.
Here they come. Hold your fire. Hold. Now.
Codename Eagle Force at TatePublishing.com.
Now, broadcasting in digital HD radio.
Bowl for Life is a non-profit organization founded in 2013 by Chuck Gardner with one simple goal: to grow the sport of bowling worldwide. Over the years, Bowl for Life has given out thousands of dollars in scholarships to youth bowlers around the world. Our focus is to nurture integrity, honesty, professionalism, as well as respect into bowlers both young and old. You can help us by going to bowlforlife.com. Even the smallest donation goes a long way to breaking down the barriers and helping us assist people of all ages to improve their skills as well as knowledge of the game. Bowl for Life is happy to be partnered with other great organizations like the Youth Education Services Fund, as well as the United States Bowling Congress, with many spectacular integrated events planned in the near future. To learn more, go to bowlforlife.com. That's bowlforlife.com.
When danger is imminent, will you be prepared? Now many mobile devices can bring you critical information from local sources you trust. With the unique sound and vibration, wireless emergency alerts keep you in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, for Hyperspace, the one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Want to take a ride?
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes, where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts!
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Welcome back, everybody, and happy Fantopia Friday. I'm Erica Lukes, and this is KCOR Digital Broadcasting Network, home of Restricted Airspace, which will be coming up in a little bit, and Universal Child with Joanna L. Ross, and Hyperspace is coming up to wrap up this ladies' night here on KCOR, and that's going to be a good show. They are talking about Montauk and all of that mystery surrounding that whole thing. That's a really good thing. I'll be tuning in for sure to listen to Solaris Blue Raven on that. I am joined tonight with somebody who is just a lovely human being, and I can tell we are going to have so much fun in Laughlin, Nevada at the Starworks Symposium. I'm here with a brilliant, intuitive, psychic medium, Karen Gresham Nickell, and you can find her if you go to KarenGresham.com. So make sure you go there. I went to YouTube, and there's some beautiful meditations that she does as well. I'm very happy to have her here, and we're talking about all sorts of fun things. And again, on break, you guys miss all the good stuff. So Karen, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's been
yes. Fun. Oh my gosh, it has been a lot of fun. And you've had quite a colorful life living in Brazil and doing all of this research for your mentor and friend, David St. Clair. Where, with all of your research with psychic phenomena, what was the most exciting aspect of this for you?
Well, the most exciting aspect of it is to learn about myself and everything, and to be able to give back to the universe what was given and gifted to me. And that's what I've sought out to do all this time, since I was quite young, because I've always been different. And I've been through the trenches and experienced a lot, and have actually come into this world to really help people find out how they too can take and have what they really want and make that happen. We all have that ability, and there are certain steps and things that we can do in order to architect our lives the way we want it to be. And it's very, very important, because we're all built with that in us if we learn how to tune into it and make it happen.
Absolutely.
And so that's what Brazil gifted me for, with all my projects and everything that I did down there. And also my husband Robert and I, from 2004 to 2009, went every year there to be with John of God in Abadiânia. And he's called João de Deus in Portuguese. Have you heard of John of God? Are you familiar with John of God?
I have heard of him, but I don't know a lot about him.
He is the world's greatest healer, and he has healed many people, Shirley MacLaine, others. He has even healed the president of Brazil at that time, had him specially flown in. John of God has a website, johnofgod.com, and everybody can go to look at him. There are a lot of healers in the world, and I'm sure they're all great. And there are also a lot of charlatans there, because this is an alternative field.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who aren't okay in it. But John is, I'm telling you, he is the greatest in the world. And I speak fluent Portuguese, and I was there, and I know. And I've seen everything. He has a dear friend, Martine, who owns a little hotel there, who has helped us tremendously. And he also comes once a year to New York, to the Omega Institute. So for those here in the United States who would like to be a part of that, his schedule is probably listed on his website. And it is phenomenal. He is incredible. We've never been to the one here, because Robert says nothing can top Brazil with John. So, and I agree. And but we've just seen about 2,000 or 3,000 people pass in front of him individually daily.
Oh my goodness!
And he's just done miraculous things, and things that you wouldn't even begin to believe. He has done surgery on himself. It'll show this in the website, and surgery on many. And he's the greatest of all, and he's from a small village about an hour and a half outside of the capital of Brasilia, called Abadiânia. And so that's quite interesting. People from all over the world come there and stay there. Some live there. And so I wish for everybody listening tonight to take advantage, and if they're interested in the most famous healer that's ever walked this planet, to my knowledge, and is John of God, in Portuguese, João Teixeira de Faria.
Oh, that's amazing. And, it's, to me, I know that a lot of people listening tonight, I mean, they're expecting for me to talk about UFOs and continually focus on that. And for me, I want to stress that there are lots of different aspects to this. And I think that it's exploring the gifted people and the connection that they have to something greater, and also exploring psychic phenomenon and paranormal phenomena. And the bottom line is, we don't really know, and I say this on every show, where one leaves off and the other one begins. And so it begins and ends off. And so I think that it's important for us to really listen and learn about all different aspects.
Well, I agree. And I'm very much interested in the cosmic ET, if that's what you call it. I think that's quite interesting, Erica. I feel like that the world today in these alternative categories are in a word change. Mm-hmm. And so people really don't know what to call it, ETs, UFOs. Different people react according to different words that are used. And actually, I like to call it people. I like to call them people, just in other cosmic societies where we can't see them, or maybe we can if they can get through, which that's what you do. And you have experienced this on the physical plane, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And I have, too, whenever I was in Virginia, back during the case back there with those coal miners, which was heavenly, back in the 80s. But it is true. And, I make reference to Paul Hellyer.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to be at the Paula Sebring Conference in 2013, which was fantastic, and he was there and he spoke. And he said, and he's also on YouTube, and he was a Minister of Defense of Canada, and he spoke and says that there are 57 different species or races that have visited our planet. And I agree with that. And I think that there are people around us who are different, and I think it's quite easy, really, for these different categories to come and go, because about 55% of the public is asleep here.
55. Now that's putting it very nicely.
Yeah, maybe 65 or 70.
Yeah, maybe a little 85.
But even in the logical form, I mean, people need to realize in reality is that this theater does end, but we don't. This theater ends, but we do not. So in order for us to be able to be the driver of our path, we have to take individual responsibility for how we treat others, how we treat ourselves, and what we deliver while we're here and what we learn. And also the gratitude to God and the universe for all that each one of us has been given in order to share to others and spread all this. Because right now our beautiful planet is in a dire crisis.
Yes.
And it's very important. In fact, this Star Works conference is probably going to be really important to bring this all about.
And I think it's always interesting to me to see how many people that have had UFO experiences really they become very active, politically active. They very cognizant of environmental issues and different things. And I think it is a very interesting progression to watch.
Well, don't you think that that's why they're here, really? I mean, I think that, there are many different ones. People ask me all the time, are they good, are they bad? Well, are we good, are we bad? It's not a question of that. It's a question of everything exists, and there are all types and all kinds. But what's happening is that there are those, I do believe, that are here, that are visiting us, that are trying to keep us from extinction and from destroying ourselves. And they come in many ways, and we all have to look at that. And they come in through the light, through energies, through love, and this is what's happening. But people have to wake up past the material, physical importance of the theater and go beyond in their own inner self, in that quest. to pioneer their own path. And then they'll find it. It's very magical.
You know, it is. And for me, learning and researching this topic, every day I kind of go to bed with a little different conflict with regard to this, because sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, this could be very frightening, and we need to understand that we're dealing with things that we do not even remotely have the capability of understanding. And maybe some of these entities or beings are not either interdimensional or extraterrestrial, or not necessarily, they don't have our best interests at heart. And then, you get sometimes the positive feelings where there's something benevolent that is looking out for us. And I think that it's important for us as we kind of move through this to remember that we truly know, and we have to be, I don't know, how do you feel about that? Do you think that we have to be a little guarded?
Well, I think we have to be aware and try to learn as much as we can. And I think that there are a lot of beautiful, loving ones here that are trying to help us in many ways. In my opinion, this is, like I said, a life theater, and we're taking a test. And when you're taking a test, it's just like you're in a classroom and everything is concealed around you. You can't see things. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have the answers because you're taking the test. And you're graded at the end of when the test is over. Well, that's synonymous of a lifetime. That's how I teach it. And who grades it is our higher self, the part of us that is our super self, our godlike self, that is, because we're a multi-consciousness being. We live on many consciousness levels of awareness. And we're here, the earth plane is a beautiful plane. It provides us with the ability to learn how to grow and develop and to correct errors that we have all done, and we need to do better and learn and grow. And it's a beautiful place to be. But we have, what happens is that everybody is learning. So there have been many stages throughout history where the light and the dark forces have come together to clash. Mm-hmm. And these are the wars we've had in the world. These are many things that have happened, the tragedies, the 9/11s, the climate problem that we're having here, the global warming, which anybody who doesn't believe that is crazy. How things are changing, and people can feel it. And the people who come to me, my clients, my students, are feeling it every day. And what's interesting is a lot of people get confused about time. They think, my goodness, I can't believe this month has gone so quickly. Or this day seems like it was just started and now it's over. So there is a sensation from the people that I know who notice a time going faster, or appearing to, or feeling like things are moving quickly.
Oh, interesting.
Have you noticed that?
You know what I do feel that time has gone by quicker, but I also, just for me, there's been a lot of, it's tumultuous. It's a very tumultuous time, and I don't know whether that is, and you can see that politically.
Right. A lot of people are depressed. People are living in fear. A lot of people are living in fear. And a lot of this fear is what's holding us back. And so there's really nothing to be afraid of, because the light always prevails over the dark, always. And it always will. And I believe that the cosmic people who are coming from these societies that are around us, the ones that I feel are of love and of the highest instructors to show us and wake us up, and all of us, and to try to show us the way. Because this planet, in some way, and I don't know how to really express this scientifically, but in the picture that I'm getting, the vision, that the interference or the catastrophes of this planet can somehow throw off, and their realms of frequency are their universes, their solar systems, and all of these other planets and worlds are affected by what happens here on this planet. And so they're also trying to help us, but they're looking out for themselves too. And it is everything. We are all one. Of course, that's, that's
yes.
On many levels of explanation. But this is really happening right now. And it's really important that as many people, I try to teach as many people as I can and try to put my light and the information I receive to those who are supposed to come to me, and in order to help them to see this. Now, people have everyday things that happen in the physical plane, which are important too. The things you want to accomplish, the things you want to have happen, like a soulmate, your goal that you want to accomplish, and all of these things are very workable and very doable. But that as the person awakens to their higher self, that's what we call it in the metaphysical realm, or their superconscious, they're able to learn to do this within. And
that is, it's truly empowering. And I often think, for me personally, going through everything that I've gone through with the different paranormal experiences in my life, and then having interesting experiences with light phenomena, UFOs, UAP, whatever we're calling them, the whole process has been it as well as a spiritual journey. It's just kind of awakened so much in me, and I want to become a better, more highly evolved human being. And I care very much, like you do, of how we treat other human beings and the beautiful creatures on our planet. I don't think there's a night that I don't go to bed and just thank God, thank the universe for the blessings that I have received. And I know that this could sound just a little out there for some of my nuts and bolts listeners, but it is very true. I always feel connected and grateful, and like I want to be a part of making this planet a better place. And that is something that I feel we all need to do, because we are in peril and we need to be responsible human beings.
That's true. I agree with you totally, and that's what I'm here for too. And I think that we're all coming together to try to help those who need to see and to know of their ability and their power and their force from within,
Absolutely.
I do believe that. I think that the planet is different now than it's ever been. And I know we've had many wars. We've had many murders. We've had a tremendous amount of things to happen. And it has to stop, and the consciousness has to be raised. You see, we make our own environment, and this is hard to say. It's hard to explain. We're only energy, and wherever we are, and from the vibration of wherever we are is what we attract to us. And that's our microcosmic identity self. That means our immediate self. then we're a part, in my opinion, we're a part of the big whole. It's a macrocosmic that is where everything is in divine order, and I do believe that. Even the things that are tragic and drastic, yes, they're horrendous, they're gut-wrenching, they're terrible, they're horribly sad, and bring out the emotion in all of us. That's what's been happening in the past year or two or more. And hopefully that everyone, and I do feel like a lot of people have awakened to start asking questions, because death is becoming so common, It just becomes a number, which the individual who should be remembered, each individual should be recognized, It's just, and I feel like this is all happening for people to look inside and to start asking questions and taking their path. Because I have a lot of people who lose people who pass, who come to me. And I lost my mother whenever I was 14, and that changed me tremendously. And that's basically when all this started happening. However, I was curious even whenever I was smaller. But when we lose someone who is dear to us through death, we ask questions, and it affects our lives. And I noticed that you said you had a death in your family.
Yes, my cute father-in-law was such a love.
Yeah, well, he's probably here right now with you. And have you heard from him?
You know what? There are times when I believe that he's absolutely around. You'll hear, he loved Take 5. He loved Dave Brubeck. So that was something.
Oh, wow.
You hear that. It's like, so it's such a great thing. And we have got to take a break. And so I am just going to, I know the best is yet to come. I have no doubt. I am Erica Lukes. I want to thank my wonderful guest, Karen Gresham Nickell. You can find her on KarenGresham.com. We will be back and we're going to talk about UFOs and much more. So stick around and we will catch you on the other side of the break.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at UFOclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.
Now, broadcasting in digital HD radio.
The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico. The rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazell was the man who discovered the saucer.
What I thought was a star began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed.
The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach.
I saw a UFO, and it went down the river, turned right at the United Nations, turned left, and then down the river.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
No more plausible deniability. Fact, fiction, or the truth. You decide. And now, the new voice of the high desert, the hostess of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes.
Welcome back, everybody, and happy Fantopia Friday. I'm Erica Lukes, always happy to be here on the best digital broadcasting network going in the world. I love being here with my fabulous producer, Tina Marie, who will be coming up in a couple hours on Restricted Airspace. And we've got Universal Child coming up right after my show. And then after Tina's fabulous show, we've got Restricted Airspace not Restricted Airspace, Hyperspace with Solaris Blue Raven. So we've got so many different airspaces. I love this. I love it. I love it. But we've got 4 powerful, intelligent females here. I'm just going to throw myself into the mix. And so it's a wonderful night on my favorite broadcasting network. I want to tell you all a little bit about some of my upcoming lectures. I'm incredibly excited. I have the New Mexico UFO Conference coming up, and that is in Rio Rancho, October 22nd. I'll be speaking with Stanton Friedman, and Dave Marler will be hosting the event, and John Greenwald. It's going to be an exceptional time, so please come out there. The tickets are only $25 for the day. I think it'll be wonderful. Please come out and see us. And then Karen, my wonderful guest tonight, we will both be speaking at the upcoming Starworks Symposium in Laughlin, Nevada. That starts November 11th, and Travis Walton will be there, Ron James, Mike Barra. It's going to be a wonderful time. Jaime Musan. And then also, I was just asked, I told you about this last week, I was asked to speak at the International UFO Congress in February. That will be a huge event for me. I'm looking forward to it. And I have to say, I'm just a little bit nervous, but that's okay. I'll get through it. It'll be great. Can't wait to meet all of you. So anyway, back to this wonderful human being that I have the pleasure of interviewing tonight. Karen Gresham Nickell is a psychic, an intuitive, a hypnotherapist, and she has had some incredible life experiences, and I believe can teach us all about how to be more cognizant of our surroundings, to be in touch, to be intuitive, and to do great things with your life. So Karen, welcome back. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome, Erica. It's an honor to be here, and I'm enjoying and really admire and respect you tremendously. This has been great.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you.
So what would you like to talk about? Where would you like for us to go now?
Oh, boy.
It's such a big field,
It is. And for me, I love where we went the past hour, and I want to get a little bit more into how your intuition and how your personal experiences led you into the UFO extraterrestrial realm.
Well, what that did is that I've always been in that realm since I was a child. And then I had, I guess, whenever I was in the late 70s, and of course in Brazil, it happened then, just the desire to know about it. And then whenever I lived in Europe and I lived in Italy, it really came out, it was real big back then, that Billy Mitchell, who was a Swiss farmer, had an encounter with the Pleiadians. And that was quite interesting, and I was very interested in that.
That is an interesting case. Yeah, Billy Meyer, and
Billy Myers, yeah.
That case has always intrigued me because there's so many, it's such a heated, there's so many people on either side of that.
Yeah. Well, do you remember Wendell Stevens?
Yes.
He was at, and he passed some years back, but I had, I was fortunate to have gone to one of his conferences in Laughlin in the 90s, like 97, 96. And he was speaking there, and he was quite incredible. He did this journey where he went to Billy Myers and wrote many books, and his books are out there. They're very expensive now. But I, in my practice as a clinical hypnotherapist and a medium, I was asked, I've worked in a lot of psychiatric clinics, and my partner of like 25 years is a MD. He's a cardiologist. He used to be with the DeBakey team in Houston, Michael DeBakey. And so then we had an office, a medical office, from like 89 to 96 in Dallas. And so I did the clinical route and all that. And that wasn't one of my favorite things, but nevertheless, it was good. And then through that, this psychiatrist called me from West Virginia, from Bluefield, and asked if I would come interview some coal miners, and that she didn't believe that they were hallucinating, and that there were like 200 who would come to her. And at that time, there was a famous story in the UFO field called the Whitfield experience. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yes. My God. And what an interesting case for years. It's just been amazing.
Yeah. Well, I was called out there at that time and to investigate and to interview these patients of this psychiatrist, and who lived there and had experiences and had seen many things. They'd seen ships and lights and had experiences. And so I could feel the energy. It was incredible. I was there for 3 months, and I lived there doing it, and it was awesome. I never saw a ship. I never saw anything, but I could feel it through the people who had, and it was incredible. I felt like that we were being pretty much observed, if you will, from maybe some of the government groups, our dear CIA or FBI or whoever it will be, probably have all of us on a list that talk like this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And for about a year after that, I think I was kind of observed a little bit, along with many others who were, and then it just kind of went away. But that was a time where a journalist actually wrote a book. It's called Don't Look Up, by Danny Gordon and the other guy, I forgot his name. But I have a very dear student friend who's going to be at Laughlin, and who I talk to after we do this, who was a big part of it. In fact, I met her through this, and she is also a contactee.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
At Laughlin at Starworks last year. And her name is Michelle, and you'll get to meet her.
Oh,
and
I can't wait.
Fantastic. She's brilliant, and so she came to me from there, and she'll have to tell you all about it. But
I can't wait. And I wanted to give a little bit more background for people that are listening who are not familiar with this case. But this took place in Virginia in 1987, and this community was a very small community, hardworking people. And the first sightings took place. There were policemen involved, and then Danny Gordon, who was on the radio station. He was a radio station reporter who didn't want to believe any of this, and was reluctantly kind of pulled into it, and then had his own sightings. So it's an incredible case.
It is. It really was. It just opened up a lot, and I think that once again, I think there was a lot of, they have the ability, this is my opinion, they have the ability to not be seen, because their technology is so much more advanced than ours. And so they could have been around there and just, we can't see. I mean, there are so many different dimensions and stages that move through the physical plane. And then you get into the quantum and the string theory and all of that. But it was in Whitfield, Virginia, and it was a really interesting thing. And Danny Gordon got a telephone call from the local sheriff that this was happening. So all these people saw it, and the coal miners that I interviewed were so sweet. Everybody was filled with such love there, and I can always remember we had her husband was an internist, and there was a radiologist there, And so we all kind of lived together to work on these people for about 3 months. But there was so much love with these experiences that these people were having, and they were all excited about what it was meaning and, what does it mean and all this. There was not any fear, I noticed.
And that is incredible. It's interesting.
It was really beautiful.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's really interesting to me because sometimes people are so, especially people that have not had a lot of exposure to this. I mean, it's very frightening, and some people react with, they shut down. So to have a whole community that is really excited and positive about it and wanting to share is quite unique.
Yeah, they were wanting to share out of exploration of what was going on. And I didn't encounter anybody who was afraid or who was having any kind of an emotional disturbance or anything like that. They were just wanting to explore and ask me what I thought, and I did a lot of hypnosis out there, and it was all just as solid as it could be. And so it was, in fact, that's how I got on board here. But then I also have contactees who are also contactees with experiences that they have while they're here alive in this realm, too. And I have to be real careful with this because I don't want this to get into a diagnostic code. But there's a lot more out there than we know. And if we all become pioneers of, like the Dalai Lama says, it starts from being aware of life and death, then we're going to automatically, instinctually explore and to see what it's all about. Because there really is no death, and we just move through one transformation to another, and there's so much more, and all of us are here to explore that, and we're all students of life and space. And there are many people, I feel like, I keep getting this picture, and I have for about the past couple of months, of this big boardroom table in this, I don't even know, this space center. That's not what I'm trying to say either, but I do believe that there is, in my opinion, something like that either going to be built or being constructed now that we do not know about, and we will never be. And I don't know. I think that if this planet becomes unable, years and years from now, to be uninhabited for whatever reason, climate or whatever, that people will be transported to like a station that's like a world with a sky and the whole thing. And I think there's a lot of things that are going to be coming about through computers and advancement in technology. I think eventually, probably in our lifetime, we won't even have to use the machines. We'll just be through airspace we reserve or whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on out there that I don't really have the right words to describe. I just have visions. But I think that if we just tune in to a lot of this will have a lot of answers to our own personal life, because also too, people are going around having a lot of problems in their daily life, and that's what is happening too that I come to deal with. Like people are depressed, or they're wondering why things aren't happening for them, or they're wondering why their life is a stalemate. And I think this is happening for them to go within and experience and open up their emotional self to learn how to take the bull by the horns and create what they want to have happen, or to draw it to them, or to evolve their energy field where they magnetically can attract that, because that's what we do.
We absolutely do. And I know for me, that's a work in progress, because it's so easy to get caught up in the negative thinking and the cycles. And then you get the extra, you get the political climate, you get everything that's happening in the world, and you get very, very negative, and even with ufology or exploring that, it can become very negative and toxic sometimes. And so it's important, and I need to be a little bit better about this, just kind of separating myself and grounding and just getting unplugged from things.
Well, I think that we're being tested in every area of our lives, and we're being tested about many things. I think we're being tested to have more of an open heart toward our fellow human being and to be a service-oriented human, all of us, to help others and to bond and to come together and to save this planet. And I believe that this is why all of these things are happening. And there are a lot of people who have sacrificed their lives for it, and they should be recognized and applauded. And all of these things are going on. And we don't have time for the bullying and the hate and all of these things that are going on in the world today, because that's the dark side. And the dark side never prevails. The light always wins. And that's the truth.
And that's comforting. Oh my gosh. Because sometimes you wonder. I mean, I think that we live too now with media. We live in such a fear-based society that people can play upon those fears, and it creates this momentum, which is a very destructive thing. And I think for all of our sakes, we have to turn off CNN. And I'm telling myself this, or turn off, some of this garbage, because it pollutes us.
I think in many ways it's interesting, though, to watch it, because then we know what's happening. And then if we tune into what's real, the light will take us to the right answer. And I think we have to watch our back. I think we have to be aware of what's going on out there.
Right.
And I really do. And I think we have to make the right decision and know, and your inner self will tell you what's right for our planet, because it's teetering on real problems that our children are going to be faced with if it's not done right. And, it's what we've had happen already internationally is just the beginning if we don't turn this around.
Right.
And we have a very beautiful place filled with love, and to raise our consciousness for the light to get bigger and bigger. And I think that everybody who sets out on their journey, even of their own personal things, like whether their boyfriend's upset with them, is he going to come back, does he love me, or am I going to get this position, or am I going to get fired, or all these things, or is my money falling apart, or am I going to get this much? I think all these are there for a reason also, to get our emotional feelings churned up to seek, to take our own individual path, to start asking ourselves questions and asking our higher self to come forth with the information.
That's so interesting. And I wonder, for me, and I think for everyone who's tuning in tonight, how all of these things really play into the UFO experience, because I have so many questions, like, is this paranormal? Is this interdimensional? Is this extraterrestrial?
It's all of it.
Oh my gosh. And
it's all the same.
So
it's all one.
So we're going to have to figure out, you're going to have to tell us how you differentiate. I mean, can you? I know it's all one, but...
ask me any question you want to. I love for people to ask me questions. And this is my opinion. I mean, I certainly don't have all the answers. I'm a student, too. And we are all students. But I have been, I think about this 24/7, every day. And so I think a lot of us do, especially right now, and we should.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's all the same, So
how does, when you have people, you've got haunted location and you're dealing with that kind of paranormal, you're seeing an apparition, how does that differ, and how can you tell, when you're dealing with something that is kind of an earthbound entity or an interdimensional being, how can you differentiate between perhaps something that is extraterrestrial?
Well, you have to go by what you feel. Like, for instance, I'll just make an example out of this. Let's say someone very close to you died. And let's say all of a sudden your animal is in a room, or dog or cat or whatever, and starts to focus on a certain corner of that room and bark or jump around or whatever. They're obviously sensing something in the room that we can't see. And then a person might ask, okay, is this my uncle who passed, or my father-in-law who passed? Is he trying to reach me or make contact, or is this something I should be wary of, be afraid of, or is this my guide or one of my teachers, or what is it? Or is this an ET from some cosmic force that's trying to watch me? And I think the answer comes from within every individual of his particular own experience.
Okay, so how would somebody...
And you open up your senses to sense that. I can always tell pretty much. Of course, I've been doing this for 35 years. But I can usually tell the difference between somebody's presence who passes and if it's somebody from another cosmic force, because it's a feeling you get in your solar plexus region. And people say, and usually the people who pass that are from our families and things like that, they don't, when they leave here, they still have just as much knowledge as they did when they were here. The only thing they see is when they do leave the body, they become in the observer position, and they're able to see the life they've left as if they were looking at a theater.
Oh, that is so interesting, and I've got to...
And they're aware that they're still alive, and sometimes it takes time for them to realize they're dead. But then a lot of them, they go to school, or some people say they go to, I'm going to use very simple terms, the hospital, or they go to school, and they're worked with, and they go through that tunnel of light that everybody knows about.
And that is interesting. I've got to cut you off right there. I apologize. We were getting ready to take our last break, and then we're going to talk about this when we get back on Erica Luke's. This is UFO Classified. Our last break is almost over, so just stick around. The best is yet to come.
Stand by. This is UFO Classified with Erica Lukes.
Erica Lukes.
The phone lines are open now at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More UFO Classified.
UFO Classified
with Erica Lukes on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. After this.
3 guys, no ties.
Over there. Comedian Cat Williams was arrested in L.A. this week on suspicion of battery. He was released on $20,000 bond. Suspicion. He had a bad year. In April, he was arrested for throwing a salt shaker at a restaurant store manager. What an a-hole.
I tell you,
what did the guy do to piss him off? They don't tell you that.
Yeah, see? 3 guys, no ties. Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Right here on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, we take the KCOR Digital Radio Network off the grid and go deep inside the paranormal vault. Jump on the elevator and come take the ride down the rabbit hole of reality with BK Mojave and The Watcher as they unlock the vault and dust off some of their classified paranormal case files even the government doesn't know about. The Paranormal Vault. Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. This is the one show our secret government fears will speak the truth.
Alien Deceptions, a suspenseful sci-fi romance thriller by Tina Marie, featuring the tantalizing Erica Jones and the mysterious Russell Hamilton. An out-of-this-world book of fiction based on years of document facts and files the government does not want you to know about. At least, not yet. Alien Deceptions by Tina Marie. Available now at Amazon.com or get a signed copy at TinaMarieEntertainment.com. Get your copy now.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, for Hyperspace, the one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Want to take a ride?
This is the world-famous KCOR.
That's the only station I listen to.
You're listening to UFO Classified with Erica Lukes, where the truth isn't hidden beneath the black lines of a Sharpie.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
To be on with Erica, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
Radio contact.
Share your thoughts on the show on Twitter by using hashtag KCOR. Or head over to the live chats at KCORradio.com.
The audience goes nuts.
And now, your host of UFO Classified.
Are you ready?
Erica Lukes.
Happy Fantopia Friday, everyone. I'm Erica Lukes. Happy to be back for my last segment tonight. And what an interesting show this has been. I could, like always, go on and on forever because there's such great information here. For me, it is always a work in progress to learn about the unknown. And I truly, my own personal belief is that we must be willing to look at all different aspects of this phenomenon. And that would be the intuition, the psychic benefits, the psychic interactions that we have, and the paranormal. All of this stuff plays into each other, and my guest tonight knows that probably better than most people in the world. Karen Gresham Nickell is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she does psychic readings, and you can find her on KarenGresham.com to schedule a reading with her, which I'm definitely going to do because I feel like this is definitely, Karen, like we were talking about, a time of a lot of tension. It's very tumultuous. And so how do we begin to put things in perspective, to ground ourselves and to connect with whatever is out there, whether it's interdimensional, extraterrestrial? I think that I would like to just know more about that. So if you don't mind, kind of give us a little bit of how we can each personally know what dimension, what we're experiencing. I mean, you talked about kind of the extraterrestrial and just tuning into your own intuition, but can you give us more information on that?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, Erica, I think that in my opinion, we have come to a time and space in our world to where it's going to be necessary for everybody to go within and to go to a higher plane of consciousness, to depend on it in order to bring in the light and the happiness and the healing of ourselves. because a lot of things are happening that are wonderful also. We have an opportunity to change the world. I have two friends who are astrologers. They're very famous astrologers, and they're talking about the transitions that we're going through right now astrologically and how it's all written and quite interesting, and I believe that. We have gone so long on such like a two-dimensional life awareness, and for some reason people need to start asking questions, and they can find the answers within themselves, but they have to get out of their head and go into their heart. And what that means is the left-brainers are if they try to figure it out through the nuts and bolts, and they're not going to get there, because there's an ending there. There's so much more about space and science. Robert and I just watched on the Science Channel the other day about Pluto, about how the discovery of Pluto and what could be out there, and even past that. And that's within our own solar system. It was just discovered within a short, a period of time that was known to us,
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more beyond that. When they start using the term light years and time and space, it makes your mind and your brain start to think, what is all this? Who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing here? How much control do I have of what happens to me? And can I call on a higher power to help me develop that? And that's what's necessary for each one of us to do. No matter what religion we are, there's only one God and one higher power. And a lot of people are even having a hard time using the word God. And higher power or higher force, the cosmic forces, in my opinion, is the same thing. But there is a greater, higher power, and we do have our guides and our people who are there for us, who have kind of picked us out, everybody, to watch over us, to help us, to plant these seeds, to help us understand, to expand our mind through understanding science, and that science is endless. It's interesting. I heard a couple of people who were scientists who were clients of mine, and they said it's over the years, all the science fiction movies that have happened 25, 35 years ago are now fiction, or are now nonfiction. They're not fiction anymore. So it's just, I think it's a culmination of everything. I myself am very attracted to people in other places, the cosmic people. And the space stations, the ships, all of these. I'm interested in who's driving the ship, what they are, not the fact that there's a UFO. There are many UFOs that are from here.
Right.
It's just this unidentified flying object. Well, but there are those that are from different dimensions and different frequencies. And I would like to know the people inside of them and how they help us and what they've done. And it has been said that they're helping us as we speak, and that they are here.
And it's interesting because when I research and look at the work of Dr. Jacques Vallée and other people, I mean, I believe that they have so many questions about whether these are actually extraterrestrials or whether this is some energy from here that has been here as long as we have. And I wonder, I feel it's probably a combination of the both, but I don't know if we're ever going to know. I mean, how can you really,
well, supposedly they've been here, and then there's a theory that it's us out there coming back to refine ourselves, and that they have been visiting this planet for hundreds of thousands of years since the beginning. And if you look at that scientifically, then maybe we are those people in one part, and they are us in another part. And just think about that. And a lot of these things you have to kind of imagine and do a mind exercise is what I would like to call it, because it's not going to be validated on the logical plane level. It's not. It's just not. And in fact, a lot of the people here, I don't feel any. I have never had an experience with one that's evil or bad. And I'm not saying they're not out there, because I think everything is out, but I myself don't know that much about that sort of thing. And I'm not into ghosts and, hauntings and that sort of thing. That's not what I do. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm sure I believe everything exists. But I see this as more of a positive idea and a positive path for us to grow as earthlings, to evolve past the darkness and the suffering and the fear that individuals have had in their own personal lives going on daily. And it's happening. Things are changing rapidly. And people have to be prepared. People need to realize that all they need to do is go within and to develop, like what we're talking about right now. This is a form of energy that we're creating. And I'm sure, or I feel that there are people with us right now in this very space that we're in, helping us and putting the word out there. But it's not physical always. Now, there is a time where you can, I think when you and I talked when we were on break, that our teachers or our angels or our guides, whatever you want to call it, or even those who have passed, who are trying to make contact with you, can all of a sudden have something unexpectedly come forth, like a robin or a bird, a hummingbird, to come to the window, and then it's that person that you loved or who passed, or it's
oh my God. Okay, so I'm sorry. I just have to stop right there.
Okay.
Because holy cow, at the first half an hour of the show, a hummingbird came up to my window.
Oh my gosh.
And kind of banged on the window, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's funny, because I have felt somebody with you while we have been doing this whole show. And so they gave us that answer. It did not come from me. Oh my goodness. This is beautiful. Oh, you're fantastic. You're very, very psychic and very, very in tune.
Oh my gosh. You just said that, and I think my jaw almost hit the floor, because I love hummingbirds, and I have a little hummingbird feeder, and I have this beautiful view, but it's that's just not even, I've never seen that before. So wow, that's incredible.
Thank you so much. I mean, and I'm grateful to have experienced that with you, because that's somebody confirming what I've said. And I think that they're not from here. I don't feel like that it was anybody who had passed on. I felt like that it was not a human who had passed. This was my feeling. I felt like it was one of those people that we've been trying to talk and explain about. And so therefore they manifested a physical security for us to assign and a symbol to go, oh my gosh, something happened. So this is really neat. Thank you so much, Erica. That's great.
Yeah, that's a trip. That's awesome.
Yeah, that happens. So that's how it works. And that validates the invisibility and those that are on these realms that want to be heard and are trying to reach out to each one of us that are pioneering our path to make sure we make the right decisions of our planet, who governs it, and what happens. Because it's crucial. It's crucial to save our oceans, to save our mountains, and all of the beautiful, beautiful land and air, and to keep our air clean and to take care of all of this. It's so important right now. Where we can keep seeing the ships in the air, and where we can keep physically seeing them too, because it gets hard for them to come through these dimensions. Also, I've been told, as the pollution and the energies are harder, it gets harder for them, and I think this is just kind of a feeling I have. I think that they're cosmic astronauts, and they come in here, and they take the project on from wherever they are, knowing that they might not make it back, or they could make it back and develop the Earthlings here and to help save planet Earth.
So how do we get people to understand, this has always been the thing for me, because I've had some very interesting experiences, and you try to share them with people, and sometimes people they don't want to accept it because it's not a tangible thing. It's not black and white. And how do you, if that's not a person's path, maybe open up somebody's mind?
That's interesting. Excuse me. People get to a point to where they get to a phase of an emotional feeling. And sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it is, it can be depression. It can be anything, but it's an emotional feeling that things aren't going okay. Now, what do I do? What can I do to make this happen, or what can I do? Let me seek for answers. I know there's more than what I know, so let me look around. Let me find out what's happening. How can I develop and know? And I think every individual has to get to that point. And a tragedy can bring it about, the loss of a job, the pain of a breakup of a relationship or a friendship, anything under the sun. When these things start to happen, or the confusing times start to happen, that is a key that it's time to start getting deeper into your path. Start seeking even more, even deeper. And calling on the higher power, calling on the cosmic forces. David had a beautiful thing formula that he did, and that I teach my students. It's called the cosmic forces. And when he was in Brazil doing his research years ago, back in the 60s, he was in a place to where he went to have a reading or with some medium, and she gave him in Portuguese this formula. And it's, I bring the cosmic forces into my body, asking for strength, protection, and guidance. And there's a way to do and say that. And when we used to do these workshops, he used to teach people how to do that. Now, after he was in Brazil, and then several years later, about 5 or 6 years later, he happened to be in Los Angeles, out in the country side of Los Angeles, and he went to see another medium, and she said, by the way, before you leave my interview, I have a formula to give you. And she gave him the same thing in English with the exact same words, and they have to be said in the exact order. It's almost like a magical code. And so there's a little thing that he did when he would do his workshop and teach people how to do that, and people would start to see themselves open up and to feel their power of self develop in order to attract or have what they wanted in life. But it is invisible, and you have to have faith. The person has to believe in a higher power. It doesn't work without that.
And, and again, for me, this is something that for my own personal beliefs, I absolutely know that I have had countless times through my life when there has been a greater force at work that I cannot explain, but that I have the utmost faith in. And it is I need to write a book because there have been.
Yeah, you do. I mean, what you just had just now was incredible, and I'm just so grateful to have been a part of it with you. I mean, you have to be very evolved to be able to see and recognize that. You just need to give yourself more credit and just keep on going and asking more and more, because you have a beautiful show, and I'm so honored to be on it. And hopefully my desire is to service people and to reach as many as I can, to ask for the right words, and I'm always praying for the right words that will open and awaken each individual that comes to me to be able to see their own ability. And I think that that's what we're about here on Earth.
I absolutely agree, and I think that is beautiful. And I just wonder how do you feel this plays into some of the work that ET contact groups do, or does that?
I think it is everything. I think it does. I think it's all about the groups that are together. ET contact groups are very important to stay in the light and to develop and listen to who might be around invisibly, who would be teaching them, and the signs and synchronicities that come about to show them hope, and that, yes, they've made contact on the physical plane more and more. And people like to hear my stories. I've got a gazillion stories over the years. And, this one with the hummingbird is one of them. I'll add to it. I mean, it really happened. We were talking about all of this, and we were being helped out. And they were getting your attention, and they were congratulating you and applauding you for what you're doing. And I think that's beautiful.
That was, I will say that, like I said, I still need to pick my jaw up off the floor, because you said that, and I'm just like, oh, wow. That was,
that's right.
Yeah, that was absolutely, I've never had that happen before, and that was really quite an interesting thing. And I know that some people would and could write that off, but I think that they would be missing a beautiful experience. And I think
that's just it. That's what you said is really what it's all about. We can't write off anything. We have to be aware of everything, because everything is happening at that moment because of a certain development process for each and every one of us. Everything, to the smallest microcosm of a situation. And that's where we need to go. And I believe very strongly in ETs and all of the societies that are out there, and especially the ones that are trying to help us. And I know that they're here, and I know a lot with that. And they are being very successful, and I always ask and pray every day that I keep myself awakened and open to continuing my development of my ability to see and to become more and more aware, and especially of verbiage and words to explain it. And that's what I need to do more and more, because it's very hard to explain all of this that's from the invisible realms, from the physical.
It is, and I know that firsthand, but for me, this has been such a blessing and a learning. It's just been, I mean, like I was telling you throughout the show, every day I feel so grateful to have these experiences and to write down in a journal all of the things I have and all the people I talk to and the ways that I've expanded my awareness. And I've had that experience with you tonight, and I cannot wait to meet you at Starworks. And then I will be calling you this week, just so you know.
Oh, absolutely. Please do. And I can't wait to meet you. And we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be just fantastic. And Paula always puts on the best one. She really, really does. She has devoted her whole life to this. And you're going to love it and enjoy it.
I can't wait.
Stephen Greer's going to be there, too.
Yes, this is going to be interesting. I can't wait to go out in the field with him and see what happens. For me, I absolutely believe that there is, that I believe that you can meditate and call in things. And I know that that's blasphemy in some circles, but I think there is definitely data to support that. And now I would like to work with both the scientific realms and then people that are more intuitive, ethereal, and bring that together. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
It's all the same thing. Absolutely. It's all one. It really is. It's all one. The science and the other, because you have to have the knowledge scientifically in order to expand the other, and they're all one. They're both the same.
I love that. So where can we go to where are you going to be speaking next?
Well, I'm not going to be speaking because I have a lot of work here with my students and my developing, and I'm going to be, it's just 3 months before November. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
I mean, it's August now almost in a couple of days. And then we have November.
Oh my gosh. So that'll be your first speaking engagement. So, and I'll keep posting that to everybody. And then, please make sure you go check out Karen's wonderful website and get a reading. I mean, my gosh, learn more about her wonderful life experience and listen to a Jobim song for the both of us.
They can go to Amazon and listen to my CD, I Am Cosmic, in Portuguese and English. And the other two are good, too. But those two were an experience for me to do. So I'm grateful to John Serry. His music is fantastic. He is the father of space music.
That is so cool. And I'll post those links. And thank you so much for being here. And all my friends.
Well, thank you, Erica. It's been great. I've had a lot of fun with you, and you're fantastic. I can't wait to know you in person.
I know it'll be a lot of fun. And I just want to say to everybody who tunes in from all over the world, thank you for listening. Make sure you always keep an open mind and do your research and trust your intuition. And have a fabulous and safe weekend. Stick around for Universal Child coming up next. Happy Fantopia Friday. See you next time.
Listen very carefully.
This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
This is UFO Classified, live every Friday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The truth is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
For more information on the host of UFO Classified, Erica Lukes, upcoming guests, as well as links to the past shows,
visit her website at ufoclassified.com.
UFO Classified.
UFO Classified.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network.